headset in his garage. Then he went and set up a Kickstarter account. He set up a goal for $250,000 goal. Within the first day, he exceeded that goal. And then by the time the month was over, he had raised $2.4 million. And then he was able to release this first development kit 1, they called it. And then there was a famous game developer named John Carmack. He's the guy that made Doom and Quake and a bunch of other cool games. He was really into this Oculus Rift, said, wow, this is cool. They went on stage at some conferences together, and he helped get Palmer Luckey and his product a lot more attention. So next thing we knew, Facebook bought Oculus Rift for more than $2 billion. And so now they had the money and the resources to build onto this product. And a couple months later, they released the next version, the Development Kit 2. So again, this wasn't ready to be a consumer product. It was just for developers. We were building roller coaster rides and a lot of basic VR things on this, but it was a great, it's kind of the beginning of VR apps and developers doing cool things with it. 2014 is also when Magic Leap was founded. This company we're really excited about. The guy on the left is Roni Abovitz. He's the CEO. He had already created a really cool robotics healthcare company before that. And then this guy on the right is Neil Stevenson. He's the guy that wrote that Snow Crash book that I mentioned earlier. So he hired him in to be the chief futurist or some title like that to help him dream up how are we going to make a metaverse? What are we going to do here? So this company is a big one to watch. They're a South Florida company. We're from Tampa, Florida, so we're pretty excited. There's not a lot of really amazing Florida tech companies, but that's one of our biggest ones. Besides hiring Neil Stevenson, they also hired a guy named Graham Devine. He made some really awesome video games too. Plus the company's hired scientists and so many geniuses of all different fields to come together to make this new amazing product that Magic Leap's trying to make. In their first few years, they raised over $2 billion of capital, and right now they're going through another investment round. They're about to get another ridiculous amount of money, and so we all hope that they can live up to do what they promised to do. And so basically, they're trying to make a wearable augmented reality or mixed reality headset, but they want to make it closer to be like glasses, so it's comfortable for everybody, and then augment things in the real world here. Right around that same time, that's when the Google Cardboard came out. It's not an amazing virtual reality platform, but it was a good way to get this out to the masses. In a short amount of time, millions of these were sent out, gave a lot of people a chance to play with some VR apps, as well as watch 360-degree videos on these. It was a good way to just get VR started. I mentioned doing the augmented reality with Valpak on the computer. At this point, we got to do one more round with them on the iPhone and Android apps. We made a mobile augmented reality app for them and got to send it out to the millions of people that get the blue envelopes at their houses again, and that was kind of cool. And then at the end of 2014 and the beginning of 2015 is when this Samsung Gear VR first came out. And these work with the Galaxy phones, started out with the Note 4 and I think the S4, S5, and then they just keep progressing with all the new phones. And then every couple new Samsung phones that come out, they update the headset as well. So I think this particular one is a first generation headset. And then we've had probably 4 more models of these since then in just the last couple of years. I recommend these to anybody that owns a Galaxy phone because for $100 or less, you have a really great VR headset to start with. One quick thing about these is it's called 3 degrees of freedom that you have. That means that when I'm wearing this, I can look all around in 360 degrees, any direction. And like I said, it's like I'm immersed in that VR world, but I can't walk in that VR world, and I can't lean in or reach out and grab something. So I'm kind of limited. It's like you're anchored in one spot. How many of you guys have got to try one of these before? Not bad, not bad. So it's a pretty great experience, but then VR has come a long ways with other devices we'll mention here in a second. The other great thing this did, though, is it brought this nice VR app store. There's the Oculus App Store that on this device you get Oculus apps specifically for the Gear VR, and then they also rolled out that app store for Oculus Rift devices later as well. So this is where we started introducing new app stores with these devices. On this Gear VR, some of the first 360 videos and apps that I interacted with were really moving, almost life-changing for me. This one was a screenshot from Jurassic World, and it's one of the first things I did with this headset, and got to see this dinosaur come up to me and get face-to-face with me, and it just felt so real, and it just felt amazing. I took it off, and like from that day on, I feel like I really did stand face-to-face with the dinosaur, and it just kind of changed my life. And same with a horror one and a surreal video and going down to give away free shoes to people in South America. Every one of these, you just feel so immersed in these experiences, and there's just no other media before that gave you the same experience. Watching videos, nothing else that you did before this could compare. So then, to make VR content, we've been software developers all this time. We wanted to make some of this stuff. So there's two things you could do. You could either make 3D graphics and use 3D game engines to make VR content, or you could shoot 360-degree video. So now we see how small and amazing these new 360 video cameras are. When we started a number of years ago, one of the only choices was to buy 6 GoPros and get a 3D printed rig and put them in there. And then you got to copy all these six different cameras worth of files onto your hard drive and keep them all organized. And then you had to stitch them together and make one file out of these. And that was a whole new art form to learn how to do. It was a lot of work, but it was fun, and it was something new, and then we got to see them on these headsets, and it was pretty cool. Soon after this stuff got going, a company called NextVR, they started making relationships with all the different sports leagues, and they knew this was going to be a big thing, and so it's really smart to hook up with them. And again, before we could ever think about streaming 360 video in a venue like this, these guys were taking $250,000 360 cameras and hooking up to really expensive things to stream a game like this. So this was the opening game of the NBA season a couple years ago, and I got to watch it live with this headset, and I was standing courtside, and these people just to the left of me, they paid $3,500 for these seats, and I got to just stand there, and it was free promotion. I'm sure pretty soon we're going to have to start paying for these, but to get to look back and forth and all around and just be there right on the court was just amazing. And like I say, a number of these cameras have evolved and changed over time. This is called the Nokia Ozo. That one came out a couple years ago, and when it came out, it was over $60,000 for this 360 camera. And this was me in the black shirt back there. We got to play with this in Florida. It was the first time it had come to Florida, and there were only 100 of these cameras in the whole world. And but we weren't going to buy it for $60,000. We were talking about renting it and so on. And but it was pretty amazing. But again, since then, since 2015, we were just talking before the thing, you've got a whole list of this long of all the different 360 cameras and how cheap they are now. So there's very few people that are paying $60,000 for a 360 camera. So then again, we had to do a bunch of these things and practice and whatnot before we could make any money. Our first great paying job. Or maybe we did a few smaller ones before this, but then we got to to make a 360 tour for the Google data center. And even Googlers can't go to their data centers. It's super high security kind of thing. Less than 1% of anybody that works at Google gets to go to the data centers. We got security clearance and we went to a data center in Oregon, and we shot and edited and put together an 8.5-minute video behind the scenes at the data center. And it's on YouTube. You can look at that up now. It's got almost 2 million views. Then at a conference, the Google Cloud Platform Next conference, they handed out Google Cardboards to everybody there and to promote this. And they even built a 360-degree theater at the conference with 4 different projectors projecting it, and played our 360 video at this super cool theater. So that was a really fun experience. And there I am back there in the video to prove that we really made it. And this guy is Kevin in the back there too. So that was pretty exciting. Then we did a fun project for an art festival in Tampa. We took 60 of the featured pieces of art, and we created a really creative VR experience for that. We did one for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was featured on Facebook, and they show it off at the arena still, showing fans behind the scenes. You get to go in the locker room, do all different things. And then we also rented a helicopter to make this one, and had somebody leaning out of the helicopter with a big pole with a 360 camera so that we could fly over the arena and get a good 360 shot like that. That was pretty neat. For any of you that are into marketing, 360 videos, I'm sure you've seen them on Facebook. They work great on your mobile device. When the 360 video comes up, you can look all around on your phone, or you could spin it around. So here's one example for this company, Vertical Ventures. It's an indoor rock climbing place. After we built the video for them and they put it on Facebook, they paid $1,000 to do the boosting, sponsoring their post, and they targeted and generated 115,000 views of local demographic people that could be their customers. So it was pretty awesome to see that for $1,000 and a small investment in making this 360 tour, they got a lot of traffic there, and I think that was a big success. I'm not going to get into all of them, but we did have some great successes with the Florida Wildlife, who took their project and they borrowed our headsets and went up to the government and showed them some things going on in the Florida Wildlife. We did a really cool one for the Florida Orchestra and a number of other people. So those were all 360 video, but then I talked about doing it with 3D files. So right here, your own Atlanta Falcons, you're building a new stadium. Before the new stadium started getting built, we got a hold of the 3D files from the architect, and they're kind of rough though. They were just meant to be like CAD files. So then we ended up making it look really nice and put a lot of work into the textures and all the stuff. And then we set up a program on the headsets so that the GM and the team owner and the coach and all the people at the Falcons could go to all different seats in different areas of the stadium and look all around and see what it would be like before they even built it. And they wanted to check out what the new Jumbotron, this big circular Jumbotron thing, was going to be like. And a good little case study, they went down to the seats on the 50-yard line, right down on the field, and then they looked up to the Jumbotron wearing this, and they had to look almost straight up. And they're like, wow, this is not a great experience here. But before the stadium was even built, they got to really see and experience what that was really like. So that's just one example of how pre-visualization, architecture, that kind of thing is a really great fit for these. Here I am wearing a crazy helmet called a Daiquiri AR Smart Helmet. These are kind of like the Microsoft HoloLens. It's a mixed reality or augmented reality helmet. It's a safety rated helmet that you can wear at a job site or a factory. It's a hands-free thing, so there's no gestures, no controller, because they expect you to be doing some kind of factory job, and you're just seeing plans or instructions or things projected as holograms on the screen while you're working. And so you really, the only way you can control it is with gazing, where if there's 3 different options on the screen, you could look and stare at one of them for a second, and then it'll select that. So there are a number of things that I didn't love about it, and it's very expensive. They do have a smart glasses version. I think these people might do a great job sticking with the industrial clients, but they're never going to get to a consumer version of this kind of thing. So then, talking about consumer versions, in 2016, the HoloLens came out with their first developer edition of the HoloLens. Microsoft's still working on this and trying to get it to the point where it's going to be a consumer product. I think last I heard, I think they're saying it's 2019 is when they plan to release this to consumers. And but this is a pretty amazing piece of hardware. It's one of our favorite toys right now, and I'll show you a quick video.
Microsoft HoloLens brings holograms into your real world. Using transparent lenses, spatial sound, and an understanding of your environment, holograms look and sound like they're actually part of the world around you. That is mixed reality. With Microsoft HoloLens, holograms are viewed through the holographic frame centered in the middle of your view. This preserves your peripheral vision, so you can move freely and connect and collaborate with people around you. Holograms in mixed reality don't block out what you can see and hear. This enables you to engage with digital content and tools alongside the objects in your real world. Holograms can be world-locked in a physical location, so you can walk around them, or they can travel with you. You can even hear them in 3D with spatial sound. Microsoft HoloLens.
How many of you got to try a HoloLens yet? Feel bad for the rest too. Whenever you get a chance. And again, I'm going to get to this later too, but I'll say it right now, like for any of you into marketing or things like that, when people ask what are good uses of this technology, we've been building some things for the HoloLens for trade shows and conferences. And if you're an exhibitor at a conference and you got a HoloLens there, you're going to get a line a half hour long. And the last conference we were in Orlando, it was kind of funny. Us and Microsoft was at a booth across from us. The two of us had HoloLenses, and there were just tons of people waiting in line, but almost nobody else. Everybody else had 1 or 2 people at their booth. So and it doesn't matter what you have on it. They all just want to try it and check it out. So it's a great thing to have at a trade show. So here's just a quick glimpse at a piece of software we're working on for one of our clients. This is at my house, playing around with this.
For example, is a physician monitored medication.
This is an application that we're working on that's for DNA testing. And then we moved back to virtual reality when the HTC Vive came out last year. This is a really exciting device. So this is virtual reality like these guys, but there's so many things that have been improved and taken to another level. The first thing you see these boxes here, each one of those has to sit in a corner, and that defines your room scale, it's called. So when I said that one only has 3 degrees of freedom, these ones have 6 degrees of freedom. So not only can I look around 360 degrees, but I can actually run around, move around in virtual reality. I can hide behind things. It's really, really amazing. It takes your VR experience to another level. Plus, they added these controllers that have buttons on the side and on front and trackpads and all these cool controls on them. So there's so many things you can do when you can pick up objects, you can shoot guns, you could draw things, you can just do so many amazing things with these controllers. They also have a great app store, and they run on, instead of running on a mobile phone like these headsets, they plug into a computer, so they're much more powerful, and the VR experiences can be even much better than what these could do. And then I say fair pricing. What's cool is we're used to like phone app stores where apps are free or 99 cents or $2. And then these apps on this headset seem to go up a little bit. There's $5 apps and $10 apps. But now on the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, if an app is good enough and great, like people are selling apps for $10, $15, $20 or $30, $40, $50 for really, really fancy titles. So it's not great for consumers to pay more for all these, but it is great for the developers and for the ecosystem that you're not trying to build this amazing VR experience and then have to sell it for 99 cents. It's just not a great deal. So now I'm guessing it's not too many since you guys haven't done HoloLenses and other things. How many people have tried the HTC Vive? 2 of you guys. See, I wish we were able to bring all these things and let you try them here today. But since you can't, here's just a couple quick videos I want to show you. So this first one is an app by Google. It's called Tilt Brush. Tilt Brush you can paint in 360 degrees in 3D. So you can turn all around, paint all the way to the floor and to the ceiling. There's all these virtual tools. You see on the left hand, you're holding a million tools. There's so many cool things you can do with it. People have created some amazing things. There's a whole community where you can load up pre-made things and share your best creations with people and to walk into these 3D sculptures and stuff. It's again, it's really amazing. It's life-changing. It's a new kind of art that we've created art in so many media over the years, and then finally there's a brand new kind of art.
How quickly can you go from creation to share?
I mean, just right away, just immediately. Yeah, you could save it and share it, and that's it. It's immediate.
Are they going to have this stuff at the party tonight? After
I don't know what apps they're having. I don't know what they're having, but there is VR and AR stuff at tonight's after party we heard. Here's one other app by Google. They're getting into this. So now we've all done Google Maps. You've done Google Earth, but now they have a Google Earth VR. And again, this is kind of life-changing when you get to try this. Never experienced maps and mapping software like this. This is all real. This is how it looks in the app. It's almost like you're Superman. You can fly up and down and all around in 3D versions of the cities. And I've traveled all around the world, gone to like the Mount Rushmore and looked around. I learned that behind Mount Rushmore, there's a little alleyway and a door behind the thing, and that was because I was able to go and peek around. I mean, it's just amazing the way you can just fly all around the world. So you can tell I'm excited about it. It's very fun to try out sometime. And then this is one when we show this off to people, almost everybody's got to try this Richie's plank experience first. You can set up your own plank, and then it syncs up, and you don't have to have a plank. But you ride an elevator to the top of this building and you go out.
Oh my gosh. And
people freak out. It's amazing. We've shown this to hundreds of people, and the reactions you get, probably a third of the people don't even want to leave the elevator. They're so scared when you see it. It feels and looks so good. And you really can't fall off. And that happens every time too. People are always trying to push people, and it's a crazy thing. But it's awesome that VR is so real and it evokes these emotions from you, like I said, that no other media before this could do. And then again, that guy Palmer Luckey, whose product got bought by Facebook, finally last year they came out with their consumer version, and it's very comparable to this HTC Vive. You can do a lot of the same software. The controls are similar, and they have their own app store. At the end of the day, it's kind of like iPhone and Android or Mac and Windows. If you like your Oculus or your HTC Vive, there's pros and cons of both of them. And then Sony PlayStation came out with their VR. There's a few more cons to this. It's not perfect, but in a way, it's sort of like the Google Cardboard, that it's exciting because there's so many millions of PlayStation 4s out in the world, So those are all potential customers to get VR in their household. And so for people like us, we just want to see VR getting propagated throughout the world and get used more. Google recently created a mobile headset like this called the Daydream. It uses the Pixel phone, and now I guess it's going to start working with the Samsung S8, and they're doing more. Their Daydream's going to change real soon, and so Google's trying to catch up, but they're actually like a little bit behind with some of this. But they just invested $1 billion in the HTC Vive company, so the two of them are going to do some more really cool things together. We won't watch this whole video here, but it's just a thing. Like now these are there's VR roller coasters. This one's at SeaWorld. A bunch of the Six Flags parks have them, and you get on the ride. You put on your VR headset, and then they have a VR experience synced along with the ride. So we'll just watch a couple seconds of this here. So you don't see anything outside. So for some people, the ride's not even as scary anymore because you don't see the ground. You don't see how high you are. You're seeing this kind of thing where you're flying, going through the water. And then the Six Flags Superman ride where you're flying through with Superman. And some of these are interactive that as you're flying around, you can shoot things and try to shoot creatures and score points. So it's really a neat thing changing amusement parks. And then here's kind of changing laser tag. This is a company called The Void. They're from Utah. They take like a warehouse and create a whole virtual experience here. And you have your computer on the backpack that you're wearing, and you have a headset and a gun, but then you're touching fake buttons on the wall, but they have smoke effects and heat effects and all these things to make the whole thing just feel super real. And you can have a bunch of people playing together and shooting each other like laser tag. And so, again, it's just a neat progression to this technology of where all this is going. And that company made a Ghostbusters experience that they had just in New York City this last year, and that was pretty cool. So then this year, the Super Bowl was at Houston, and we got to build the first virtual reality drop tower ride. So here was and it was sponsored by NASA, so it was called Journey to Mars. And when you're wearing the VR headset, it looked like you're flying to Mars. So we had real NASA astronauts get to try it. We had NFL cheerleaders and players and all these cool people. 26,000 people rode the ride. 12 different people would ride the ride together at the same time. And so we had to sync it up that when the ride operator hit play on the ride, then all 12 headsets were all synced up to the ride and seeing this experience. And then this voiceover tell you about passing the moon, going past the space station, and approaching Mars. And we'll go ahead. Now when you're at the top of the ride and you're on Mars, I'll just show you really, if it's a drop tower ride, you got to see it drop down here. So when you get to the top, you have a few seconds to look around and see Mars. And again, I had to test this ride a whole lot of times, but it wasn't so scary because I'm only seeing Mars and seeing all this stuff, so I really didn't have to think about how high I was in the air. And it really changed that whole experience, getting to use VR the whole time. And the reactions that we got, people loved it. Like every single time people got off, they're laughing, they're going crazy. It was so much fun. And some recent projects, we're working with David McCulley's book, The Way Things Work. And one of the pages, he's got a flying drones. And so we made a drone training game in VR. We made a data visualization thing in VR that's pretty cool. We recently got a Meta 2 headset. This was something we pre-ordered over a year ago, and it took forever to get here. And then by the time I got it, it was like a little underwhelming, and I'm not super excited about it. But there's some things that it does that's really cool, but again, I thought they were good enough to earn a spot in the timeline, but it's not an amazing product. And now, just within the last few months, Apple, a couple months ago, Apple came out with the AR kit, and then Google followed suit with the AR core, so we could make some really cool augmented reality stuff on our phone. Here's one app that we made. We have this here with us too. Again, we just did this for fun. This is our first thing we tried. We made this little 3D portal here, so you can place that portal door anywhere you want. And then you walk through the portal door and you're in a beach 360 video that we had shot. But then you can look back out the portal and see the real world and walk back into the real world.
Wow.
And so that was the first thing that we did with this technology. I think it took us about 2 days to figure that out. And then this is one that we're working on right now. That's an augmented reality dominoes. This should hopefully be in the App Store in the next month. But as a kid, I used to like setting up the little dominoes and knocking them all down. It's always a bummer to accidentally knock them down. Now I get to just hit one button and it resets them all. And I can save my track, and so then tomorrow when somebody comes over, I just hit load and there it is, and I don't have to rebuild it again. So it's kind of my dream from being a kid. Now I'm wrapping it up. I think we've got 2 slides left here. So business uses, I promised I'd say more about that. So again, the 360 videos, there's a lot of success we've had with these on Facebook and YouTube and the VR headsets. Sales demos, it's really easy to travel with these headsets or a Google Daydream or a Microsoft HoloLens. So these devices, some of these devices are very portable and easy to bring around as sales demos. Or you could set up a fancier HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift in your conference room or your office and give demos like that. I already mentioned all these different devices are a big hit at conferences and trade shows, but as everybody starts to see Gear VRs, then everybody's got to raise the bar and then bring the next new device and the next new one. And training and simulation. I mean, we've done training programs with a lot of restaurants and other sales teams and other things, security guard training. So now, and before when it was all computer-based training or iPad training, now we're bringing that to VR. So like if I'm learning how to work in a fast food restaurant, I don't have to do a thing on my computer or an iPad app that looks like a video game from the 90s. I could be in the VR headset and it looks like I'm actually getting the French fries out of here and doing the thing and really learning your job in VR. Plus all the promotional and branded apps. One example recently, Kentucky Fried Chicken just made a branded VR app. It was a silly game, but it was a great advertisement for them. A lot of people played it, it got a lot of news, it got a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of neat things for companies to make promotional and branded things. And then there's a lot of viral ideas and disruptive technology you can do with these new things. So again, I'm going over it pretty quickly, but there are a lot of uses. And then as these get more and more mainstream, they're just going to be a lot easier to do a lot more things. The future with mixed reality, that's the HoloLens where you can see the holograms. The Magic Leap company I talked about, that they want to do the holograms even better, make their glasses just, and then Apple is rumored to be working on smart glasses and some other companies. So it's kind of a race between Magic Leap, Microsoft, Apple, and the goal is to get down to glasses that are going to project these holograms everywhere. But then one by one, these technologies are supposed to disrupt things. So pretty soon you won't need a phone because you can just say, call somebody or just like the watch or whatever, but you don't need a phone. This is your computer that you're wearing on your head. And then with the HoloLens already and some of these devices, I could project a screen on the wall any size I want. So I do have a home theater projector at my house, but in the near future, I won't need a projector because I could just project a 12-foot screen on the wall and watch Netflix or whatever you want with your smart glasses. And then pretty soon that means besides TVs and phones, even movie theaters will start to get displaced. So it's probably going to be 20 years from now, but in 20 years, phones, TVs, movie theaters might be extinct or close to it. We'll see. One of the exciting things with this is all the new app stores and all the new opportunities that if Magic Leap or Apple or whoever succeeds with making the most awesome smart glasses that everybody wants. And right now, some people are like, hey, I don't want smart glasses, but people said that about cell phones, and now here we all are with smartphones. So if we all end up wearing smart glasses, every app has to be reinvented. How are you going to do Facebook with your smart glasses? How do you do Zillow? How do you do Dropbox? Like, how do you do every app in the world has to be remade for this new UI? And you're going to be like Tony Stark and Iron Man moving around holograms and doing stuff and sending files to this person and answering messages and doing whatever you're doing. But every app in the world and every company is going to need new apps because of this. The artificial intelligence stuff, Facebook, Google, Elon Musk, and others are doing amazing stuff with artificial intelligence. We could talk about that for hours. And then Elon Musk's one company, and so is Facebook. They're both working on this matrix learning stuff where we really will have brain-computer interfaces that connect to our brain. And this really wasn't even about my talk, but I just couldn't help mentioning it, that the brain-computer interfaces are really exciting stuff where you really might be able to learn all of Wikipedia, or even if it doesn't all download into your head, it'll at least stream. So you could ask me, what year did the Civil War end? And I'm just going to think it, and then I'll just say, oh, I know what year that was, and I'll be able to tell you. And so it's pretty cool. And then the digital telepathy, that when we do have these cool brain-computer interfaces, that I won't have to send you text messages or emails or call you. I could just think my thoughts to you, and you can think your thoughts back to me. And then besides even thinking messages, now what if I could show you a memory and show you, and so when I go back home and I tell my kids about this experience, I could just share that and they could be right here and actually live it. So it's exciting. A lot of people's futurism stories end with smart glasses and stuff, but that's why I just want to say there's a lot more, like even more exciting and crazy things coming. And so this is one of the last videos that Magic Leap gave us of their smart glasses and what their thing looks like. And this is over a year old and it's starting to get boring to me. I can't wait till they show us more stuff or till we finally do get our hands on it. I'm not even going to play the whole video. But this is what we hope that technology doesn't turn into, because the way all this is going, some of you might have seen these hyper reality videos, and this is, you could have things popping up everywhere, advertisements and stuff about people and all these holograms just floating everywhere, and it could just get really ridiculous. So hopefully there's that, and we're talking about user experience. So the user experience of these tools is really important, that we don't just totally ruin it. And thank you. Do you have any questions?
Do you think VR or AR is going to take off?
I think VR is not going to go away. It's got its own special place for gaming, for a lot of different things where you want to get immersed in a virtual world. It's really cool. And even to get to virtually travel to different places, it's really amazing. But the augmented reality, where you get to interact with your real world and still have all this stuff, and you get to be Iron Man, and I'm just doing all my hologram productive stuff. I think that's going to be much bigger. So I think AR is bigger, but it's not going to make VR go away. That's still got its own place.
So what are the most popular like brand use cases in AR today? Like who are you seeing most traction from your client?
So with AR, there's again most of the projects that we're getting to do with AR right now are at trade shows. So for us, that's one niche that we found, both with the iPad, with the Microsoft HoloLens. Other than that, it's got to be somebody pretty progressive, and it's kind of tough. I think with AR and the new AR kit and the new iOS 11 that just came out, there's going to be a huge wave of AR apps. And up till now, like Pokemon was one of the only AR hits. I think in the coming year, there's going to be a couple thousand new AR apps. So it's inevitable that there's going to be at least maybe 24 out of the 2,000 apps that are hits and that everybody starts using. So I think in the near future we're going to see more and more hits with the mobile AR, and
there's mobile AR for Android as well. I work with Sean and Kevin Hall, and there's a big opportunity for brand reinforcement, especially big brands. We talked to an NHL hockey team about having their mascot in 3D and making it a 3D virtual reality or augmented reality buddy that's just with you. So I think we'll see large big box brands start to use those things just to keep their name out in things. And I'm sure Budweiser is going to have some augmented thing on their cans that makes silly faces or has some kind of unique experience coming.
And that sounds interesting, but some of it's just kind of fun
It's
to play
fun.
with. But does anybody do anything like Matters? I know IKEA did something initially that was show me my product in my house. So now that I can see what it looks like in the corner, I'm actually going to buy that product. And now that actually has
The thing is people have to have the hardware. That's why we're seeing it mostly in trade shows where you have one device and many people.
And even with the iOS 11 and this augmented reality, it only works on the iPhone 7s and 8s and the iPhone X. So the people with iPhone 6s and lower are out of luck with this new AR kit stuff. So we gotta like move along with the technology and when consumers have it all.
Yeah, it's 18, 24, 36
So
months.
how do you break the paradigm? One to many. HTC is what, $1,200?
What you do with
The
iOS 11?
HTC Vive is
It's down to about 500 now, but it's the computer that's expensive. But the HTC Vive by itself is $5 or $599 now. The Oculus Rift is under $500 now, I think.
But given diminishing attention spans, down at a trade show, I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's the thing is they have a few of them, and everybody wants to see them, and they're so new today, right now, that people are willing to wait for it. And we do a lot of work with big pharmacy, quite frankly, has the budgets to do these kind of tactics and interactions, and they're performing very well, but they're labor intensive, they're time consuming, and the hardware is expensive. So the people that can use them, the early adopters, frankly, just have to have the time and money to do it. But they're winning at the trade show, and they're winning on the trade show floor with them right now because they're the only person in the whole, room with something that's, cool.
Do you see mobile AR taking off over headsets?
I think the mobile AR is really a kind of a bridge till we get to the wearable. So I think having these mobile AR apps are going to help make people aware when there's more and more useful ones. You get to use IKEA, you get to go to the grocery store and it's going to help you find your groceries, and you get to use more and more productive, useful AR apps on your phone. Then when we get to the wearable, it's going to be a better transition from the one to the other. And I was even going to show this is one of our portfolios, and we've done a lot of trade show things, and here's an example right here. So this was even before VR headsets. We were doing these at trade shows. We were using these Sony Cinemizer goggles. We would hide a Mac Mini in that column there, and then we were using a Leap motion sensor inside that green plastic thing. So you're moving your hands around and grabbing things and seeing it on the screen. And it didn't matter what the content was and what the game was. Everybody at the trade show wanted to try that. And And when they tried it and they grabbed the 3D balls and they learned how to put them in the sphere in the right place, their reward was to watch videos about this dialysis machine. So I always laugh. It's really funny that we make these really neat technology things, but Baxter Healthcare is one of the companies that have paid for a whole lot of these. They love this innovation at trade shows, and now we're doing one on the HoloLens for them. And so people will try this technology and end up just getting to watch their commercial at the end of the day.
But again, how do you get that in the hands of every middle school?
Right, well that's not,
the audience.
yeah, that's not our job. I mean, we have to just kind of go along with the flow and wait till, so
It's 10 years out. I mean,
part of the problem is that
But you
we,
have the relationship with brands.
with some brands, it's limited, but it's, but that's part of the pros and cons of being early adopters, that we're, the first bunch of projects, we don't even get paid to do it. We just do it because we love it, we want to learn how to do it, and then I got to figure out how to sell the service and sell to a few clients, and then it's usually another year or two before it's like kind of a consumer mainstream thing, and we could think about like doing an app or doing something that the whole world is gonna use, and yeah, a lot of this is waiting. I mean, the HoloLens, we can build apps for the HoloLens already now, and there is an app store, but the only other people with the app store are other developers like us. It's not a consumer product, so that's why I'm not making some killer app to sell on the HoloLens. It's just too early right now, so I have to wait another couple of years till everybody has it. But in the meantime, we try to find ways to innovate with it and put it out at trade shows and make a couple dollars and do whatever we can in the meantime.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.